Speaking of enjoying Tokusatsu, there was a bit of a kerfluffle this weekend online. This week online, from the makers of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. So this is going to be a Zed talk. I'm going to call this your Zed talk for the week. We're going to talk about Tokusatsu and what it means to Power Rangers and what Power Rangers means to Tokusatsu and if those two things are married forever. But just to give you guys some backstory real quick here. Simon Bennett, the showrunner of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, tweeted out, "I'm a big fan of Jonathan Entwistle's previous output." Jonathan Entwistle is the showrunner, executive producer of whatever this Power Rangers reboot that Hasbro has in the making is going to be. Hasbro has hired him on as sort of their Kevin Feige of the whole thing. So, I'm a big fan of Jonathan Entwistle's previous output. End of the fucking world, and I'm not okay with this. We're fresh and groundbreaking TV. I'm confident that if Hasbro can get the new Entwistle Young Adult Power Rangers reboot series off the ground, it will be riveting and original. I agree with that. And then Sonic Blue Ranger says, "I hope so. My big concern is that it's going to try a veer too far away from the franchise's Tokusatsu roots in a misguided attempt to try and make Power Rangers the new MCU or big nerd franchise in general." To which the Cosmic Fury showrunner replied, "I think, and this is only my opinion, that to reach a large mainstream audience, the franchise has to move away from its Tokusatsu roots. It's this that has kept Power Rangers niche for so long with the US audiences. It needs to do this in a way that is fresh and compelling." I don't know if you guys can see the ratio here, but people were not happy with this quote. Mainly, the franchise has to move away from its Tokusatsu roots part. That is what everyone got mad at. Just for some follow-up to this, Simon Bennett got on, posted something, but the important part is this. Simon Bennett says, "I don't hate Tokusatsu. I admire it greatly. My comment was that for PR to find a mass audience success in the US again, I think it needs to move away from its Tokusatsu roots." So basically, doubling down and basically saying he does love Tokusatsu. This part right here, specifically the "I don't hate Tokusatsu," had to be said because of this tweet from 3 weeks ago that people were passing around of, "It took me some time to get my head around how obviously plastic toys and rubber monsters were taken so seriously. There was laughter at our Japanese footage meetings where the excerpts selected by the writers were discussed by other head of departments rematching locations in action." All right. So now that we have this whole backstory on this thing, right? Which Toku franchise do you think is most popular? Power Rangers. That is the answer. Now that we have all this backstory on this, there is one more piece that doesn't superly go with this. It is not... this is all the opinion of the man whose job ends on Power Rangers in 17 days. I want to throw that out there first. We're talking about it right now because I think it's an interesting topic to talk about as a whole. Like I said, this is his opinion of what Power Rangers should be or what should happen with Power Rangers. But we do have an interview from the website or from the YouTube channel Nick News from 1 day ago with Simon Bennett, where we get kind of a peek of what Hasbro thinks Power Rangers should be. And that is in the form of this clip right here, where Simon is talking about the process of choosing the suits for Cosmic Fury and why Q Ranger was not chosen.
And another factor behind that was that the Hasbro toy team really wanted suits that they could mold easily and make toys around easily, and they believed would sell to American audiences. And they'd never had confidence in the Q Ranger suits, and there were so many of them. we actually couldn't make it work with the number of Rangers that we were playing with and the stories that we wanted to tell. So that was kind of, those were all the reasons behind us not adapting the Q Ranger suits. If we had been able to, we would not have done any adaptation. It would have been all original. And if the kids show is going to continue, I think that's the way it would be heading.
All right. There is the answer flat out of why there is no Q Ranger suits in Cosmic Fury. And it's a pretty amicable answer, honestly. It's understandable. Hasbro wanted suits that were easy to mold. Before this, he kind of says that they didn't want to completely divorce themselves from Dino Fury and dinosaurs and all that stuff, and to do Q Ranger would do that a little too much. But we kind of know this is bullshit. What Simon said is not bullshit. What Hasbro was thinking is bullshit, because Q Ranger, the big deal with Q Ranger was that these suits were made in conjunction with Bandai America so that they would be easier to sell to American audiences. It was literally a gigantic point of Q Ranger that Bandai America helped design the season so that Power Rangers would have an easier time adapting it. So Hasbro saying, hey, those are too hard to adapt, we want suits that are easier to mold, is basically saying we want one version of suit so that we can mold just that over and over again for these suits. And let me also preface all this by saying that the screeners for Cosmic Fury is out. I have not seen them personally, but I've seen a lot of praise for the season. So I don't have any doubt that Cosmic Fury is going to be good. But we also have not seen barely any toys, definitely not figures so far for Cosmic Fury. There are rumors that they will come out or be announced around December for Christmas time, which is fine. That's when toys sell the most, obviously. But there's just a lot of things missing from this equation that kind of sets up a bad taste or a bad precedent for Power Rangers, a show that's actually supposed to sell children's toys. So, to go back to the original tweet, it is Simon saying, I think, and this is only my opinion, that to reach a large mainstream audience, the franchise has to move away from its tokusatsu roots. It's this that has kept Power Rangers niche for so long with US audiences. It needs to do this in a way that's fresh and compelling. And what I have said on Twitter is that I think that Power Rangers can move away from tokusatsu. And what I mean when I say tokusatsu is I mean the people in suits are not fully CGI stuff. Like, think of Iron Man, Endgame. I wouldn't call those tokusatsus because there's not really physical suits and all that stuff or effects. I think Power Rangers can go that way and move away from tokusatsu. I think absolutely it could be this MCU style thing, this tentpole franchise MCU style thing that everyone thinks of like, oh man, those are cool Voltron-esque suits and everything. But I think that extensively doesn't make it Power Rangers then. I think that gets away from what Power Rangers is. And a lot of people have said what Forbidden Super saying in the chat is like, if we want a darker Power Ranger story, then they should adapt the comics. And I don't think a darker Power Ranger story is anywhere near the answer. There is a darker story that has the answer. Black Sun is a very dark story. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying Power Rangers needs to be dark. But you can do everything that Black Sun did with a different story. You can have these cool suits. You can have this different style of shooting film. You can have this, even the bad guys of Black Sun, the way they look You can do all that, and that's Tokusatsu. And nobody looks at that and thinks, oh, that's kiddish. There's not a single person that I've shown Black Sun, the first episode of Black Sun, images of Black Sun, and they say, oh, that's Power Rangers. Derogatory. Because it doesn't have to be that. You don't look at every horror movie and go, oh, that's Michael Myers. Derogatory. You know what I'm saying? There are ways to do Tokusatsu that aren't inherent, that appeal to a broader audience, a more mass audience. And it's not the Tokusatsu elements that are holding Power Rangers back or have ever held Power Rangers back. It is the actual way it is put together. It is the repetitiveness. It is the not through line of a story. It is the equation, the formula that they stick to of, okay, humans, teamwork, and then we go and morph, and then we go into a Zord, and then we defeat the big bad guy, and then we come down and we go, hey, we're all friends because we work together as a team. And that's really, really good for my almost 2-year-old daughter. She digs it. But it's a little bit of a chore to watch for myself or any teenager that's looking for a little something more. There is a show that gets super defended online, that gets absolutely, and it's not a tokusatsu, I'll give you that, it's an anime, but Voltron, the Netflix Voltron series, gets a lot of love online for doing a little bit more with its source material than the original Voltron is. The original Voltron is just like Power Rangers. 5 lions combined, 5 pilots, all colored suits. They don't morph, but they're all friends, they're a team, and they go and do their stuff. And Hasbro, and to a bigger extent, Saban, Neo Saban, has refused to evolve in the way that those other franchises have. Ninja Turtles, Voltron, hell, even the live action One Piece that just came out. I was watching that and I was like, man, I wish I had a Power Ranger series that, one, had this kind of backing from like Netflix, or 2, had this chemistry between the cast off of every single promotional thing I've seen. But I watched the live action One Piece and I was like, man, this is Tokusatsu. Arlong is not a CG fishman. Arlong has a swordfish nose and everything, and they're all painted on. And like, yeah, it has CG effects at points. But like, man, that's a good example of like Tokusatsu style filmmaking, because Tokusatsu is a medium. It's not a genre. It's how you do these things. And I don't think Power Rangers should ever get away from that. I think it can, but I don't think it ever should. There are a lot of people who disagree with that, and I understand. But I think that inherently loses the heart of Power Rangers. I saw some people bring up Hyperforce as an example of, hey, this isn't a Tokusatsu, and this is a great story. And I say, hey, that's fine. It could be a great story. But story is not the only thing that makes something good. Like, Hyperforce wouldn't able to be Hyperforce without Tokusatsu first. Without knowing, hey, this is what a suit looks like. This is what a Power Ranger suit is. This is what Power Rangers is. I think the problem is the writing quality. Yeah, absolutely. Writing quality is a big problem. We were just talking about it. But I don't think Power Rangers can ever not be a Tokusatsu, or else it's not Power Rangers. And I think if that's the plan for this reboot that's going to happen, it's going to have a very uphill battle with a lot of people. Because Power Rangers is, I think one of the best examples is Shin Kamen Rider. As much as I don't like it, everyone knows, there's a video on the channel, everyone knows my thoughts on Shin Kamen Rider. Shin Kamen Rider captivated a lot of people. There are a lot of new people in Tokusatsu that are watching Kamen Rider now because of Shin Kamen Rider. And I love that. And I think a big reason for that is Shin Kamen Rider didn't pretend to be something it wasn't. Didn't pretend to be not Tokusatsu. It wore that shit on its sleeve and said, hey, this is what Kamen Rider started as. This is what Kamen Rider can be. This is what Kamen Rider is. And it gave you everything from the laughable moments of the backflip when he's like, I broke my leg, but now it's okay. And he does the backflip, to the best moments of the first fight scene that happens with the bat, or not the bat. The bat's not the first fight scene. The spider. God, so stupid. The spider. Yeah, the criticism I've seen of Shin Kamen Rider was that it stuck true to its roots, alienating newcomers. I don't think by sticking to its roots, it meant quite like the Tokusatsu aspect. I think it stuck too close to its roots in terms of, hey, here's what happened in the 70s. Here it is. Instead of being like, hey, here's Tokusatsu in 2023. It was like, here's Tokusatsu in the 70s, just filmed better instead. But that's my thoughts on the whole Power Rangers drama. Like I said, I think it's an interesting topic to talk about. No hate on Simon Bennett. Like I said, he's probably made a fantastic series. We're going to know in 17 days in terms of Cosmic Fury.